The Blooming Miracle 1. Pure vanilla. The wind carried the scent of blooming lotus flowers, their soft golden glow casting a quiet shimmer across the surface. Pure vanilla cookie stood at the water's edge, his heart pounding the way it hadn't in centuries. He couldn't move. He could barely breathe, because standing in the center of the lake, surrounded by petals floating like stars, was her, White Lily Cookie. His hands trembled as he clutched his staff tighter. This wasn't possible. He had long given up hope of never seeing her again, not as a fragment, but as herself. And yet, there she was, dressed in flowing white robes, her hair cascading like silk, her soft eyes reflecting the moonlight. She looked lost. Her expression held no recognition, only quiet confusion as she gazed at the petals beneath her finger. His voice caught in his throat. He had dreamed of this moment countless times, but now that it was real, all words failed him. But Lily, he finally managed to whisper. The name left his lips like a prayer, fragile and uncertain, afraid that if he spoke loudly, she would vanish like mist. She blinked, her eyes slowly lifting to meet his, and for the first time in centuries, Pure Vanilla felt like time had rewound, back to when they were young, before the world turned cruel, before everything fell apart. But something was wrong. There was no spark of familiarity in her gaze, no warmth of recognition. She did not know who he was, White Lily. The world was quiet. She didn't know how long she had been sitting there, her fingers lightly brushing against the glowing petals that drifted around her. The golden light felt familiar, yet distant, like a song she had once known but forgotten. Where was she? The last thing she recalled was darkness, a deep, endless void that seemed to stretch for eternity. And then this, a field of golden flowers, the air humming softly with magic. Her body felt light, almost weightless, yet something in her heart felt heavy. She pressed a hand to her chest, a strange emptiness settling there, then a voice, White Lily. Her breath hitched. She turned slowly, her gaze landing on the figure standing at the lake's edge. A cookie dressed in robes as soft as dawn, golden patterns laced across his attire like threads of sunlight. His eyes, gentle, kind, yet filled with a sadness she did not understand, were locked onto her as though he had just seen a ghost. Did she know him? She should, the way he was looking at her, the way his voice trembled. It told her that he knew her, that she had once meant something to him, but when she tried to search for memories of him, she only found an empty void. Who are you? She asked softly. And in that moment, the cookie's expression shattered, his breath hitching as if her words had struck him harder than any wound ever could. Okay, I think it's like this, right? Yeah. It's like that, I think. Okay. Where's the thingy here? Bro, where'd it go? A name without a memory. 2. Pure Vanilla. The words echoed in his mind like a distant thunderstorm. Who are you? He had prepared himself for every possible reaction, shock, overwhelming joy, even sorrow, but not this. Not those soft, uncertain eyes staring at him as if he were nothing more than a stranger. His fingers curled around his staff as he forced himself to breathe. It was fine. It had to be fine. She was here. That's all that mattered. Pure Vanilla stepped forward, his voice gentle. I am Pure Vanilla Cookie. He paused, searching her expression for any flicker of recognition. None came. Do you not remember? White Lily Cookie blinked. Her delicate hands traced the petal floating on the water's surface, as if searching for an answer in the glow. I don't know, she murmured. A painful silence followed. The wind whispered through the field, and the lake shimmered under the moonlight. But to Pure Vanilla, the world felt unbearably still. For so long he had dreamed of this moment, of seeing her, of reuniting. But now that she was standing before him, she did not remember him. Still, he refused to let despair take root. He had always been patient, and he would be patient now. If she had truly lost her memories, he would help her find them again, even if it meant starting over. White Lily, he said softly, stepping closer. May I come to you? She hesitated, but after a moment, she gave a small nod. His breath caught as he carefully stepped onto the water's surface, his magic allowing him to walk across it. Each step sent gentle ripples outward, disturbing the lotus petals. And then, after what felt like an eternity, he was standing before her. She was real. She was truly here. Slowly, he reached out, his fingers hovering near hers. Hesitant, he longed to take her hands in his, to feel her warmth again. But he didn't want to startle her. Instead, he simply whispered, "You've returned." White Lily looked at him with quiet uncertainty. Have I? There was something about this cookie, the way he looked at her, the softness in his voice. There was a deep, aching familiarity in his presence, like a forgotten melody playing in the distance. Pure Vanilla Cookie. His name felt like it had belonged to a story she had once known, yet the pages had been torn away. She searched her mind, desperate to find something, anything that might explain why his mere presence made her chest tighten. But there was nothing, only empty silence. Her gaze lowered. I don't remember anything, she admitted. I don't know why I'm here. I don't know who I am. Her fingers curled slightly. And yet, I feel like I should. Pure Vanilla's expressions softened through sorrow, though sorrow lingered in his eyes. It's supposed to be though. It's all right, he assured her gently. We've been through so much. It's natural for our memories to take time. She hesitated. Have we met before? His breath hitched ever so slightly, but he didn't falter. Oh my God, they said a thing! Oh my God, he didn't falter! Instead, he gave a soft, bittersweet smile. Yes, he said. A long time ago. A strange warmth filled her chest, as if some hidden part of her already knew that to be true. She studied him before speaking again. Will you help me remember? Pure Vanilla didn't hesitate. He knelt before her, placing a hand over his heart, his eyes full of quiet devotion. I will help you find your memories, he vowed, no matter how long it takes. What, are they gonna, fall in love at the end of this damn book? I mean, wattpad stuff? I guess. Fanfiction? Yeah, at the end of this fanfiction. And for the first time since she awoke, White Lily Cookie felt the tiniest spark of something deep within her. Something that felt like hope. Hello? Can I, go to the next page? A journey begins. Yeah. Here we go. This was in April, by the way. This was in April, and, I guess it's supposed to be an AU fanfiction, I guess. I just randomly picked this because I like it. I like how the cover art looks. I'm now gonna put the phone to charge real quick while I wait for this damn thing to load. Huh. It's not loading. A Journey Begins, Chapter 3. Pure Vanilla. Pure Vanilla Cookie stood a short distance away, watching as White Lily Cookie traced slow circles in the water with her fingertips. She had been silent for a long time. He didn't want to rush her, but the weight of unspoken words pressed heavily between them. Finally, he spoke. "Would you come with me?" Her hand stilled. Slowly she lifted her gaze to meet his, uncertainty flickering in her pale red eyes. "Go with you?" He nodded. "There are places you once knew, friends who would want to see you again. If we travel together, we may find answers about your memories, about why you returned." He hesitated before adding, "You don't have to do this alone." A quiet breeze stirred between them. White Lily didn't respond right away. She turned her gaze towards somewhere else, her expression unreadable. He was hesitating. He could see it. "Do you truly wish to remember?" he asked gently. Her fingers curled slightly against her dress. "I don't know." The admission was soft, purely more than a whisper, but it struck him like a cold wind. Pure Vanilla waited, letting her speak on her own terms. White Lily finally turned back to him, her eyes shadowed with doubt. "What if the truth is painful? What if I am not the person you think I am?" Pure Vanilla exhaled softly. He understood her fear, more than she even knew. But still, he offered a reassuring smile. Damn, is he like actually talking to Dark Enchantress Cookie or some shit? Just randomly out of character, like what? I'm gonna be taking a few breaks and just adding my opinion, like sprinkling in some of my opinion, like how you sometimes sprinkle in salt in a steak. Like you just let the steak simmer for a moment and then you sprinkle in the salt a little and then the pepper and the seasonings. I'm gonna be doing that sometimes. No matter who you are now or who you once were. Okay, then Dark Enchantress Cookie. He took a careful step closer. "I will walk beside you." White Lily Cookie studied him for a moment. Then at last, she gave a small nod. "All right." Relief flooded through him, though he kept it from showing too strongly. "Then let us go." She cast one last glance at the Lotus Lake before stepping forward. Together, they left the glowing petals behind. White Lily, every step forward felt unfamiliar. The world beyond the Lotus Lake stretched wide, filled with golden fields, soft hills, and distant mountains touching the horizon. It was beautiful, but something about it made her uneasy. She wasn't sure if it was because she didn't recognize any of it or because deep down she felt like she should. Pure Vanilla walked beside her in comfortable silence. Every now and then she caught him glancing at her, as if he was afraid she'd disappear. She didn't know how to feel about that. "You said I have friends," she said after a while. He nodded. "Yes, many, who cared for you dearly." She hesitated. "And they will remember me?" His expression turned wistful. "I believe so." The thought made something tighten in her chest. If there were cookies who remembered her, who missed her, what would they think of her now? Would they see her as a lost friend or a stranger? Before she could dwell on it further, a soft gust of wind carried the scent of blooming flowers through the air. She paused. Something about the fragrance, sweet, delicate, familiar, made her breath hitch. "What is it?" Pure Vanilla asked. She stared at the field ahead, her heart pounding for reasons she couldn't understand. "I don't know. she admitted. But deep within her, something stirred. A memory just out of reach. Pure Vanilla said nothing, only waiting patiently as she gathered her thoughts. After a long moment, she exhaled and started walking again. She didn't understand the past. She didn't know what awaited her. But step by step, she would find out. And for now, that was enough. Chapter 4. First Reunion. Pure Vanilla. The village came into view, bathed in the warm glow of the afternoon sun. Nestled among crop fields and rolling hills, it seemed untouched by conflict, a place where cookies lived peacefully, tending to their daily lives. Yet, despite the comforting sight, Pure Vanilla couldn't shake the tension in the air. He glanced at White Lily Cookie, walking silently beside him. Her gaze flickered towards the village, but there was hesitation in her steps. Would this place bring back memories, or would it only remind her of what it had lost? As they approached the village gate, a familiar voice called out, "Wait a sec! No way! Is that—" Before Pure Vanilla Cookie could react, Parfait Cookie rushed towards them. Her eyes wide in shock. She was still holding her microphone as if she had just been in the middle of a song. "Pure Vanilla Cookie? Holy chalk chip, it's really you!" she exclaimed, breaking into a huge grin. A small cookie in a royal cape came running towards them, nearly tripping over his own feet in excitement. Custard Cookie the Third. "Whoa, whoa, whoa! Is that really the real Pure Vanilla Cookie? I can't believe it! You're actually here!" Custard Cookie beamed up at him, puffing out his chest. "Ha! I always knew you'd come back. It was only a matter of time before the greatest ruler of the Vanilla Kingdom returned." Pure Vanilla chuckled. "It's good to see the both of you." But then both Parfait and Custard Cookie's eyes flicked to White Lily Cookie. His excitement dimmed slightly as he tipped his head. Who is she?" Parfait gulped. Silence. White Lily's heart sank. She didn't know what to say. She didn't even know who she was. "Her name is White Lily Cookie," Pure Vanilla finally answered. His voice was gentle, as if he tried not to disturb something fragile. And no, she's not completely back to normal now. Parfait seemed to pick up on the tension because she quickly smiled again, though she wasn't quite as carefree as before. "Why don't we get inside? The village is gonna flip when they see you, Pure Vanilla, and White Lily is welcomed as well." The village welcomed them, but cautiously. Cookies gathered, their faces light with joy at the sight of Pure Vanilla. Excited murmurs spread through the crowd, but as their eyes fell on White Lily, the murmurs became whispers. "She looks just like her. Are you sure it's still her? But what if it's her?" Pure Vanilla Cookie felt White Lily stiffen beside him. "I'm not gonna make a dirty joke." "Hey, come on, everyone," Parfait Cookie said, putting her hands on the hips. "What's with the mumbling? This is a happy moment, ain't it?" Some cookies shuffled awkwardly. Others averted their gazes. White Lily didn't say a word. Parfait looked between the villagers and White Lily, let out a small sigh before flashing an easygoing grin. "Well, whatever. Let's get y'all settled in first. We can deal with the serious stuff later." Pure Vanilla smiled at her gratefully. White Lily. Later that night, White Lily Cookie sat alone beneath the silver glow of the moon. The village was quiet now. She had spent the evening observing, listening. The way they spoke to her, the way they spoke about her. They didn't feel her, well, not really, but they didn't trust her either. Her hands curled into the fabric of her dress. She didn't even know if she was truly White Lily Cookie. Yet these cookies, they remembered something about her that she did not. White Lily Cookie? She lifted her head slightly at the familiar voice. Pure Vanilla Cookie. stood beside her, his staff glowing faintly in the moonlight. Okay, I'm trying my best to not make a dirty joke in this very serious. This is very serious, okay? I'm trying my best to not make a dirty joke in this. It's just wattpad humor. She didn't respond, and he quietly sat down beside her. For a moment, he looked up at the sky, letting the silence settle between them. Then softly he said, "Are you all right?" White Lily exhaled, closing her eyes. "I don't know." She heard him shift slightly, then warmth. Pure Vanilla's hand rested on hers. "You're not alone," he murmured. "You never will be." She finally looked at him. His expression was soft, filled with nothing but kindness. There was no doubt, no fear, no distrust. And suddenly, for the first time since she had awakened, she felt like she had belonged. Her fingers curled slightly around his, and she let out a quiet breath. "Thank you." Pure Vanilla smiled, and in that moment, the whispers of her doubt in her heart grew a little quieter, shrunk. Then something stirred in her mind, memory, a soft glow of a candlelight, the gentle hum of voices echoing through stone halls. Blueberry yogurt academy. She saw herself, younger, nervous, hands trembling as she clutched the edge of her nose. Then beside her, Pure Vanilla Cookie. He had smiled at her back then too, and without hesitation. And he had taken her hand, just like he did now. "It's all right," he had whispered. "I'll be with you." In that moment, it had been so small, so ordinary, yet it had been enough to calm her nerves back then. And now, even when everything had changed, he was still there, holding her hand like before. Her grip tightened, just slightly. She may not remember everything. She might even not know three things about herself, but she knew this one. And for tonight, that was enough. "I am Pibble. Wash my belly." Yeah. Okay. A shadow watching. Or chapter 5. Pure Vanilla. The village had quieted for the night, but an unease lingered in the air. Pure Vanilla could feel it. The faintest ripple of something unnatural. The wind carried whispers, too soft to make out, but just enough to unsettle his heart. He cast a glance toward White Lily Cookie, who sat beside him near the fire, staring into the embers. She had been restless ever since they arrived. Even after meeting some cookies willing to accept her presence, the hesitant glances and hushes murmurs of others had reached her ears. He wished he could ease her mind. He shouldn't listen to them, he said gently. White Lily didn't respond at first. Her fingers toyed with the ends of her long hair, braids, lost in thought. Then she let out a quiet breath. "I know, but I can't help it," she admitted. "No matter how much I try to forget, their words remind me that I don't know who I am anymore." Oh, shit. I'm reading so much that my mouth hurts now. Okay. Pure Vanilla's heart ached at her words. He wanted to tell her that it didn't matter, that who she was now was what mattered, but before he could, a sudden chill crawled up his spine. The fire flickered, the trees rustled, not with the gentle sways of wind, but as if something had moved through them, and then laughter, a distorted, distant chuckle, warped as if it came from somewhere too far yet too close at the same time. Pure Vanilla stiffened. White Lily's eyes darted up, her entire posture going rigid. She had heard it too. She turned toward the trees, scanning darkness. Nothing but the feeling of being washed over was stronger. And then the villagers screamed. Sorry, I just had to make that joke. Villager like Minecraft, of course. White Lily. She and Pure Vanilla Cookie ran towards the source of the stream. Scream, not stream, not Okay. A young Cookie stood at the edge of the village, trembling. His eyes were wide with terror as he pointed towards the trees. I saw them. Red eyes in the forest. More cookies gathered, whispering anxiously amongst themselves. White Lily's pulse quickened as she turned her gaze to the tree line. As at first there was nothing, but then a flicker. A brief glint of red, deep within the trees, staring back at her. And then it was gone. A trick of the light, or something else. A cold sensation curled around her heart. Whatever it was watching, and it was waiting elsewhere, deep within the spire of deceit. The air shimmered like a mirage, bending reality itself. The grand warp stage was aligned with a sticky golden glow. I'm trying not to make a dirty joke now with the word sticky, but who cummed on the on the spire? Who the hell cummed on the spire? Casting twisting shadows across this impossible architecture. At the center stood a blue jester. Yeah, fucking Shadow Milk Cookie, right? Perched upon his lavish, throne-like seat, he leaned against one arm set, fingers drumming against his cheek. His blue eyes gleamed with mirth as he lazily twirled his cane, the motion sending ripples through the very space around him. Is he a jester or a magicer? Before him, his two most trusted lackeys, or you mean minions, right? Stood in quiet anticipation. Did bro pull out the thesaurus for this shit? Candy apple cookie. Cookie. Evergreen. Juggled 3 glowing apples. That's cannibalism. Between her hands, her gaze with mischief. Black Sapphire Cookie stood with his arms crossed, his piercing gaze locked on his master, waiting for his decree. Shadow Milk let the silence stretch, savoring the moment before exhaling a dramatic sigh. My, what a delightful performance we have ahead, he mused. The traitor has returned, and the thief still clings to his stolen prize. How poetic. I thought that said pathetic for a moment, but okay. He smirked, tapping his cane against the ground. The stage beneath him rippled like liquid gold, or piss, I guess, shifting and reforming into a massive swirling stage curtain. Damn. Shall we prepare for the next act? His voice was honeyed, but beneath it slurred something vicious. It's a cock. His gaze sharpened as he leaned forward, his blue eyes glinting with dangerous amusement. After all, the audience is waiting. The fragrance of the past. Chapter 6. The morning mist clung to the trees like a silken veil. White Lily walked in silence beside Pure Vanilla Cookie, the forest path crunching gently beneath their feet. Birds chirped faintly overhead. But the echoes of last night's encounter hadn't left her mind. She could still feel the eyes, watching, waiting. Are you all right? Pure Vanilla Cookie's voice was soft, concerned. White Lily just gave a small nod. Yes, just thinking. But just as he was about to respond, crash! A blur of brown and red shot out of the bushes like a cannonball. Ah! Look out, Pure Vanilla! Look out! Pure Vanilla reached forward instinctively, just in time. White Lily stumbled back as the blur slammed into her, only for Pure Vanilla's hand to grab hers and pull her steady. The impact left a startled Cookie flat on his ground, leaves on his head. Ow. She blinked. She didn't know what it was, but maybe the impact from it something inside her. She remembered to wait. Is that? The Cookie looked up with white eyes. White Lily Cookie? Ginger Brave. Damn, it just had to be Ginger Brave, huh? Just had to be fucking Ginger Brave. Ginger Brave. Ultimate cookie time. Moments later, two more familiar figures burst out of the woods. Wizard Cookie, panting, and Strawberry Cookie, clutching her cloak. What cloak? She wears a hoodie with a skirt thingy, like a dress hoodie. Ginger Brave, you ran too fast again. Wizard Cookie huffed. Strawberry Cookie peeked out from behind him and gasped. Is that really her? White Lily found herself surrounded, blinking in disbelief. It's been forever. Ginger Brave beamed, already bouncing on his heels. We thought you were gone for good. I suppose I was, White Lily said softly. Her eyes flickered toward Pure Vanilla, who was still gently holding her hand from her fall. He let go, flustered. Yeah, I guess I understand why it's Pure Lily, huh? Well, that definitely doesn't happen in real life, huh? Definitely doesn't happen in real life. Definitely not with me, because I am bitchless. Strawberry Cookie took a hesitant step forward. We missed you. The moment settled into warm, chaotic laughter. Pure Vanilla smiled, relieved to see White Lily laughing too, even if only a little. Why don't we walk together for a while? He suggested. There's a place I'd like to visit. A hill not far from here. It's peaceful. The group agreed, chatting as they made their way down on the old paths. Pure Vanilla. It was just as he remembered. Blossoms danced in the breeze, painting the slope in soft golden white. The air was sweet with the scent of flowers and memory. White Lily stood at the crest of the hill, her hair catching the wind, her eyes distant. She remembered this place. Not clearly, not yet, but her heart remembered. A flicker of her younger self, sitting beneath the trees, scribbling plant names into a small book. A boy sat beside her. What was it like? Vanilla, Dark Cacao, who? Reading, their shoulders barely touching. Her hands had trembled. She hated crowds, but his hand had been there, steady, warm, holding hers without a word. The memory passed like a breeze, but it left her chest aching. Pure Vanilla approached quietly, offering a small flower he begged. She took it without a word. They sat in silence, surrounded by the others, but somehow in their own little world. She leaned just lightly into him. He didn't move away. A gentle wind passed her across the hill. One petal, two, floating down, spiraling in the air. Then, something strange. The third petal didn't fall like the others. It lingered, hung in the air a moment too long. And the breeze, soft and sweet only a moment ago, whispered. The first threads of illusion were weaving into the world. Shadowmilk's game was beginning. The Thorn in the Heart, Chapter 7. White Lily. After resting atop the hill, where petals bloomed in gold and memory, the group descended back into the valley below. Ginger Brave led the way, practically bouncing with energy, still thrilled after reunited with both Pure Vanilla and White Lily Cookie. Wizard and Strawberry trailed behind, their pace slower but their curiosity endless. Let's stop in Sugar Plum Hollow, Ginger Brave suggested, pointing to a town just beyond the trees. We can grab supplies and maybe find some clues, too. It had been Pure Vanilla's idea to visit nearby places where White Lily had once traveled. Small, quiet spots, places that might stir memories without the pressure of expectation. Sugar Plum Hollow was such a place, a cozy trading town nestled between two sugarcane rivers, known for its warm atmosphere and wide selection of sweet herbs and flower seeds. It had once been on the old Blueberry Yogurt Academy trading route, but the comfort of the place only made her feel like an outsider. The outsider is mentioned, by the way. What? She kept her hood drawn just enough to shade her face as they moved through the colorful market. Chatter buzzed around them, cookies moving to and fro with pastries in hand. Isn't that called cannibalism, though? Because they are cookies, but they have pastries in their hand. That's called cannibalism. Gossiping, laughing, living like she had once lived, before everything fractured. And it wasn't long before someone recognized her. Oh no, they had run into Pomegranate Cookie. She stood at a flower cart, her red cape draped over her shoulders like freshly spilled wine. Her gaze locked onto White Lily Cookie. The moment she turned, silence fell like a blade. You, Pomegranate, pretending to walk among them again? Have you come to lead another ruinous path, or will you vanish again before the ashes fall? White Lily had frozen. The others stepped forward, but she said nothing. No denial, no defense. It was Pure Vanilla who stepped up. Pure Vanillas? What, are there like two Pure Vanillas now or some shit? What, is this gonna be like harem or some shit? Oh, sorry. She isn't who she was. None of us are. But she's trying. And that's worth something. Just because you don't follow Dark Enchantress Cookie's way anymore doesn't mean you're one of us. She scoffed. We'll see. Then she turned and disappeared into the crowd, her words clinging to White Lily like frostbite. Pure Vanilla. He watched quietly from behind, noticing how White Lily's posture sagged after the encounter. It wasn't the first time someone lashed out at her like that, but it definitely had an effect on her. He stepped forward, his voice gentle. Lily. She turned to him, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. I'm fine. But he could tell it wasn't true. Though the others were chatting away, none of them knew how deeply those words could cut. Eat. They continued walking, but Pure Vanilla stayed close, subtly putting himself between her and the bustling crowd. They made their way to the town's edge. How would he... how? I'm trying to imagine that, but, like... I'm not sure how he would do that. As they made their way to the town's edge. Okay. White Lily. The encounter poisoned her heart. She had remained quiet for the rest of the day, and when night fell, she slipped into the garden behind the inn. Oh, I thought it meant behind him. And the moonlight painted the grass in silver hues, and the old stone fountain murmured softly behind her. She sat at its edge, hands clenched, afraid of what she still carried instead. Damn. Oh shit. Okay. I thought I could face it, she whispered aloud, though no one was there. The stares, the fear, the way I don't know what's inside me anymore. Why am I so sensitive? Pure Vanilla. He noticed her absence almost instantly. Finding her in the garden wasn't hard. She was always attracted to flowers. Dick. He stepped forward slowly. You don't have to figure it all out right away. Your memories are still fresh. White Lily didn't turn, but her voice shook. Then what? After so many cookies have gotten hurt because of me? He sat beside her quietly. You're not who we were, Lily. And that's okay. None of us were. It was all Dark Enchantress was doing. I saw the look in Pomegranate's eyes. she murmured. She still hates me. Pure Vanilla hesitated, and then gently reached out and took her hands in his. She blinked, surprised, but didn't pull away. This hand, he said softly, used to shake when you were nervous, remember? Her breath caught. Back at the academy. You'll always do this, won't you? Of course. You always held mine until the shaking stopped. Just for a moment, she smiled genuine, though faint, and leaned her head onto his shoulder. Wait, let me see some comments here. Aw, it's okay, me too. Yes, ours is so peak. I love you for this, by the way. Okay, then. The Library Between Time. Chapter 8. Damn, it's been 40 minutes already. Pure Vanilla. The blueberry yogurt archive stood just beyond them, nestled in the embrace of jagged stone and curling vines. A place once filled with learning and light, now left to time and silence. He hadn't stepped foot in there in ages. The crest above the rude gates was cracked, but still recognizable. A star entwined with the scroll. He smiled faintly. How many times did I look up at that emblem, thinking that everything was so certain back then? Gingerbrave had raced ahead with the wizard cookie, excitedly pointing out old doorways and overgrown pathways. Strawberry Cookie lingered near the edge, quietly observing, but his gaze was only on her. White Lily stood at the threshold, unmoving. Her eyes weren't looking at the ruins. Her eyes were looking through them, as if trying to remember. Her expression wavered beyond wonder and fear. You used to sit under that tree, Pure Vanilla said gently, stepping to her side. The one just past the courtyard. Always studying instead of eating your lunch. Damn. She blinked, slowly turning to follow his gaze. The tree stood crooked now, and leaves a dusty pale green, but it was still alive. Did I? She whispered. You made star charts with all the myths attached, he said, a soft smile tugging at his lips. You taught me how to find Orion's cradle. Onion, 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 onion. This is a joke, by the way. A pause. And then a small breath of a laugh left her lips. Her hips. Well, okay. That was when he saw her take her first step forward. He hadn't expected anything to stir in her. She came for answers, not memories. But they came anyway. Okay. Faint flickers of late evenings under candlelight, ink across her wrists. Huh? Ink or jam? You know what jam is, right? It's like blood. Okay. Her voice raised in debate during class. Oh, it's supposed to be memories, like faint flickers or some shit. Okay. She placed a hand on the old stone windowsill of an old lecture hall. The cold pressed on her palm, grounding her. This was real. These were her steps. She had been there. And yet, as they passed through the corridors, something felt off. The way some rooms seemed longer than it should have been. A hallway that curved when it used to end. The soft echo of someone's voice whispering her name, but no one was behind her. She shook it off anyways. They stopped at what had once been the central library, where she and Pure Vanilla would sneak in and steal books. Then that's not so pure, huh? That's not so pure then, huh, Pure Vanilla? The ceiling had collapsed years ago, but one side room, her old study nook, remained intact. Pure Vanilla pushed the door open, letting in a stream of late afternoon light. On the desk sat a weathered book, dusty, curled at the corners, but unmistakably hers. She stepped toward it, drawn by some instinct. Her fingers hovered before they gently turned the cover. It was a journal filled with delicate handwriting. Her handwriting. Ideas, notes, blooming curiosity, pages of thoughts she hadn't seen in centuries. But then, at the back, a page written in something red, scrawled hastily, slashed across the page with urgency. Do not trust the stars. It's now chapter 9, right? Okay. A Dance in the Moonlight, chapter 9. Purelily. Ah, damn, now it's both. The stars shimmered like frost, scattered across a velvet sky. What is color of the velvet? What is velvet color? Is velvet color real? Sorry, I just had to drink some water. White Lily sat at the edge of the campsite, her knees tucked close to her chest, the cool grass brushing against her fingertips. Nearby, Wizard Cookie was curled in the crook of his cloak, softly snoring, while Gingerbread and Strawberry Cookie leaped on each other, fast asleep. She couldn't sleep. Too much has stirred in her heart lately. The archives, the journal, that warning she couldn't explain. Do not trust the stars. White Lily sighed and tilted her head upward. The stars didn't look cruel. They looked just as they did when she and Pure Vanilla used to sneak out of class and lie on the roof of the academy, whispering dreams they never shared with anyone else. You're still awake? A familiar voice called out. She turned. Of course, it was Pure Vanilla, who stood behind her, calm as ever, a soft smile on his gray face. His cloak was draped loosely over his shoulders, and his eyes glowed like lanterns in the dark. I could ask the same of you, she replied with a small smile of her own. He walked over and sat beside her without asking. They sat in silence for a few minutes, listening to the rustle of the night, and then, Pure Vanilla, he didn't want to break the moment, but the way her fingers fidgeted with her hand told him that she was lost in thoughts. Sad thoughts. You remembered something back then, didn't you? He asked gently. White Lily hesitated. Yes, just a piece. Her voice was soft, almost shy. You used to braid flowers into my hair. Whenever I was upset or mad, just start weaving little crowns and clips. You never said anything about it, but it always calmed me. Pure Vanilla's eyes widened with a smile. Yeah, that's right. You remember. You liked lavender the most. You said it smelled like quiet. She gave a small laugh. I still do. He smiled. I'd make you a crown now if I could find any. You always gave me something better. You already gave me something better. Okay, she said, glancing at their joined hands before looking away quickly. But then their eyes met. For a heartbeat, nothing else existed. And then Shadow Milk ruined the moment by making everything weird. A breeze passed through the trees, carrying it with the faint sound of a lute, distant but clear. Somewhere not far, someone was playing music. A bard, perhaps. What the fuck is a bard? Pure Vanilla stood and turned to her, extending a hand. Would you like to dance? She blinked. Here? Why not? He said. We rarely had the chance back then. White Lily stared at his outstretched hand, and then slowly, she took it. White Lily. The grass crushed softly under their steps as he guided her into a gentle sway. He was warm, steady, just like back then. She hadn't danced in centuries, but somehow her feet remembered. Maybe her heart too. Their hands found each other naturally. She rested her forehead lightly against his shoulder. The music, though faint, echoed in her chest more than her ears. No words were needed, just movement and presence. They danced like they used to dream. Quiet, secretly, like the world had nothing to say about it. When they stopped, the silence between them was tender. Pure Vanilla looked into her eyes, his hand still holding hers. "Okay, I miss this," he whispered. "Not just dancing, but also you." White Lily opened her mouth. No words came, so instead she squeezed his hand once, then again. And Pure Vanilla smile said everything. Wait, let me see the comments real quick on this one. Yeah! Love, love, love. My flower, my winner, my queen. Make our dance in the moonlight last forever. You are doing great. Yeah. This was like 7 months ago, by the way. Crimson smoke, crimson doubt. Okay. Let me see this. Pure Vanilla. The blazing sun crowded the peaks of the Hollyberry Kingdom as the group arrived at the gates. Trumpets blared overhead, and the smell of roasted fruit and spice filled the air. Hydration with the beverage cup. Trumpets, okay. It was alive with noise and color, as if the land itself was celebrating their arrival. Pure Vanilla Cookie gave a small smile. "We've made it. Can't we take a break? How come Gingerbread and the others get one and we always keep going? My foot's gonna get blisters." Before another word passed, a familiar roar of laughter echoed from the palace steps. Well, well, well. Look who finally decided to show his caramel-colored face. Hollyberry burst onto the scene like a charging rhino, slinging her shield over one shoulder as she stormed down the steps with an unmistakable grin. She threw her arms open wide and practically tackled Pure Vanilla into a massive hug. "You soft sugar lump, I've missed that little crown of yours." Little? That's an entire ice cream cone on his head, bro. "I've missed you too, Hollyberry." He wheezed from beneath her crushing embrace. Okay. She turned and spotted White Lily Cookie. Her eyes lit up with surprise, but her energy never dipped. "Well, slap me with a wine barrel and call me unprepared." "Oi, eu tô fazendo vídeo aqui." "And call me unprepared," she laughed, stomping with an earth-shaking step. "White Lily Cookie, you're still alive? I was half convinced you turned into a legend." White Lily blinked, startled by the sheer force of Hollyberry's cheer. I wasn't sure I'd ever see this place again." "Nonsense!" Hollyberry grinned, thumping her lightly on the back. "You might have gone missing, but you're still one of us. You were always a little dramatic, just like this guy here." "I resent that," Pure Vanilla muttered with a smile. Come. You'll have to tell me everything over a drink. Well, maybe not everything, but I'll spare you my sobbing if you do the same." She waved them toward the castle. White Lily. The banquet was loud, full of crushing mugs, roaring laughter, and the clang of celebration. Hollyberry Cookie hadn't stopped talking since she poured the first round of sparkling cider. White Lily sat quietly beside Pure Vanilla, watching the firelight dance on the walls, smiling softly as Hollyberry recounted one absurd tale after the other. For the first time since her return, the world felt almost normal. She leaned closer to Pure Vanilla. "You really were close with her." She chuckled. "She never lets me forget." White Lily opened her mouth to speak, but she couldn't catch a single break. A low growl rumbled through the stone. The ground quaked, the mugs toppled. A deep, inhuman roar bellowed from beyond the banquet hall. Hollyberry was on her feet in an instant. What on earth bread was that?" Another roar, louder. This time it came with a crash. A hole exploded through the stone wall of the castle, rubble flying across the room. A huge, shadowy beast with a jester appearance looked in the smoke. Screams erupted as cookies scrambled from the feast, chaos breaking loose. "To arms!" Hollyberry shouted, her shield already drawn. Pure Vanilla summoned his staff, standing protectively in front of White Lily, who was frozen, not from fear, but recognition. She had felt this before, something familiar yet wrong pulsed from the creature form. And then, a voice, smooth and playful, sliced through the madness. "Oh, White Lily!" From within the smoke, a stage unfolded. Velvet curtains, golden spotlights, and flickering, hollow applause followed the air. "You have returned to the spotlight, I see. How daring," cooed the voice again. A tall figure with a theatrical flourish stepped into view, arms wide like a conductor awaiting a bow, I guess. Though his face was masked and painted, that sinister glee was unmistakable. Shadow Milk Cookie. "You're making quite the show, my dear. And what's this? Vanilla back on his feet? My. Has the script already slipped out of my hands?" He leaned forward with a grin that didn't reach his eyes. "But don't worry, this was merely all of scene 1. He gestured grandly to the castle around them. "Let's see how you fare in the rest of it, shall we?" With a wave of his hand, the stage vanished, and so did he, leaving smoke, fire, and a kingdom in ruin. Pure Vanilla. The fire crackled around them. Holly Berry's voice rang through the hall. The guards with fearless energy. Pure Vanilla stood still, watching the flames twist and sway unnaturally. For some reason, he was frozen. He couldn't move. Something wasn't right. The fire behind him once, then bent violently forward as if pulled by something, and then a ripple of something dark. It slid along the floor, silent and low like a snake. He didn't see it, but she did. "Pure Vanilla!" She lunged. He didn't even have time to flinch before her arms were around him, shoving him out of the way. The spell struck her instead. A blast of dark, curling energy like liquid thread slammed into White Lily, lifting her off the ground and sending her crashing into the shattered stone tiles. The force of it cracked the floor beneath her. He turned instantly, heart thundering in his chest, scrambling towards her. "White Lily!" Her body trembled, her hands glowing faintly as she tried to suppress the lingering dark energy now coiled around her. She coughed, and a fine trail of glittering essence slipped from her lips, but her gaze still found his, and it softened. "You always get too lost in thought," she whispered. "I know you wouldn't see it." "What?" He dropped to his knees beside her, grabbing her hand, fury and guilt brimming in his eyes. "You shouldn't have." "You do the same for me," she replied. Then a clap, one single, slow clap, echoed across the scorched hall. Up near the collapsed archway, on a still burning beam, stood the silhouette again. Spotlights flickered on around him. "Bravo! Truly, what a turn! Our heroine steps into the fire for the fool." He turned around, outfit fluttering dramatically, and the fool learns nothing yet. His cane tapped twice on the wood. "But don't worry, there's more to come, so much more." And just like that, he stepped back. "This time, I'll leave. For now." And vanished. All that remained was his echo, lingering like smoke in the rafters. White Lily. Pain throbbed through her body, but she didn't let go of Pure Vanilla's hand. She could feel it. The illusions had disappeared, and the world was beginning to shift. Not physically, but underneath. The stage was being set, piece by piece, and he was waiting. Okay, I'm gonna make a part 2 where I read more fanfiction and the rest of this one, so bye, because I'm gonna have to go to sleep in a bit, because it's 10 p.m.